So let's start off with blocking in the sky color. For this, I'm going to be using an ultramarine blue mixed with some white. And as I go further down into the sky, I'm going to add more white, so I get this soft blue looking gradient. Now do note that I'm using a lot of water here to help me get that smooth blend. You can use a medium if you want, but I prefer using water. You can also see me leave these white empty spaces in between, which help me get those cloud-like shapes.
Now, using the reference photo as a guide, I begin to create an outline for where I want my trees to be. For this, I'm using a small flat brush, and the color that I'm using is a very light desaturated green, which I mixed using black, yellow, and white. Once I've decided where I want my trees to be, I can then begin to block in the colors for the trees and the foreground. Now, for blocking in the trees, you can see that I'm using a very dark color for the shadows. This is because I want my trees to seem large in size and close to the viewer. Especially the tree on the leftmost side, I'm using an even darker color for the shadows, because this tree is much more closer to the viewer compared to the rest of the trees. So by using a darker color for the shadows, I have this effect of sort of pushing back the rest of the trees into the painting. Also, some more tips that I would give for painting trees would be to add a lot of color variation. Don't just stick to one or two colors. Make sure to use at least 3 to 4 different colors for your trees. And try not to make your trees look symmetrical. Make sure to add a lot of variation in the size and the shape of your strokes. This will really help to make your trees look realistic. And be careful with your greens. Try not to add a lot of yellow. What this will do is make your trees look much more closer to the viewer than they should be. I would only use a lot of yellow, if I was painting something that is very close to the viewer. Moving on to the foreground, you can see that I have a small grassy area on the left hand side and a small road and a house on the right hand side. At this point, I'm just keeping my brushwork relatively flat because I just want to cover as much as ground as possible. Moving back to the sky, it's much easier for me to do the clouds now because of those empty spaces that are left. All I have to do is just block in white patches around those areas. Now back to the foreground. If we have done the blocking in stage correctly, all the right colors should be in the right place. To finish this painting, all we need to do is add the final details. You can notice that the colors that I'm going to be using are much more darker and intense than what's already behind. This is how you achieve depth in a painting, by varying the darkness and the intensity of the colors as you progress.